Being described as Orwellian refers to a situation or a type of government that thoroughly regulates and manipulates information, surveillance, and propaganda. Typically with the aid of technology and the media. The expression is borrowed from George Orwell's dystopian novel, 1984, in which a totalitarian government uses media, technology, and language to control the public, stifle criticism, and maintain absolute power. In an Orwellian society, individual liberties are severely curtailed or non-existent, while propaganda, censorship, and ongoing surveillance are employed to keep the populace under the thumb of the ruling class. The expression is widely used to describe political regimes, organizations, or technology advancements that exhibit comparable manipulation, censorship, and monitoring characteristics. The term Orwellian is widely used to describe situations or institutional structures that have elements in common with the dystopian society portrayed in George Orwell's novel, 1984. It is frequently misused or abused, though, which leads to incorrect application. Regardless matter how severe or complicated the situation is, the phrase is widely abused to apply to any instance of governmental surveillance or censorship. This can minimize the impact of Orwellian society and its significance in actual life. The word may also be wrongly applied to situations that do not require governmental control, such as when the private sector gathers and modifies data. Even though each of these situations might create unique problems, they don't necessarily depict an Orwellian society. Because of this, it's important to be careful how you use the term Orwellian, and to make sure that it accurately describes the characteristics of a truly totalitarian government. Telescreens are a crucial part of the government's surveillance and control of its population in George Orwell's dystopian novel, 1984, which is set in that society. The government may see residents' daily activities and overhear their conversations via these devices, which double as televisions and cameras. Because of the constant monitoring, the populace is pervasively afraid and paranoid because any indication of discontent or rebellion could lead to harsh punishment. Because it reflects a complete erosion of individual freedom and privacy, the use of telescreens is Orwellian. Citizens are unable to express themselves freely, and the government keeps an eye on and manages everything they do. Additionally, propaganda and lies are broadcast on telescreens in order to influence people's opinions and uphold government control and power. The risks of unfettered government surveillance and the effects of a society in which individual autonomy and freedom are entirely swallowed by the state are best illustrated by the usage of telescreens in the film, 1984.
This video is sponsored by NordVPN.
One potential example of an Orwellian trend in 2023 could be the increasing use of facial recognition technology by governments and corporations. This technology has the potential to be used for mass surveillance, tracking citizens' movements and activities, and violating their privacy. It can also be used to target and discriminate against specific groups based on their appearance or behavior. In 2020, the Detroit Police Department used facial recognition technology to identify protesters at a public demonstration without obtaining a warrant or seeking consent. This came to light after a group of protesters sued the city for violating their constitutional rights. The lawsuit alleged that the police department used facial recognition technology to identify protesters and then subjected them to harassment and intimidation, including following them home and making unwarranted visits to their workplaces. The case is ongoing and has brought attention to the potential misuse of facial recognition technology by law enforcement. The growing adoption of facial recognition technology by businesses and agencies in 2023 may be one example of an Orwellian trend. The possibility for widespread monitoring, tracking citizens' whereabouts and activities, and invading their privacy exists with this technology. Additionally, it can be used to target and discriminate against particular groups based on how they act or appear, without a warrant or the approval of the demonstrators. The Detroit Police Department employed facial recognition technology to identify them at a public rally in 2020. This was made public when a group of protesters filed a lawsuit against the city accusing it of violating their constitutional rights. According to the lawsuit, the police department identified protesters using facial recognition technology and then harassed and intimidated individuals, including following them home and paying unannounced visits to their workplaces. It has drawn attention to the potential abuse of facial recognition technology by law enforcement, which is still a case in progress.